A mother's intuition, that's what Nancy used after her daughter was almost killed in a car accident. Alicia told her mum there was one crucial detail from the crash that police dismissed. Another car was involved. So Nancy turned amateur detective and tracked down the mystery driver. Here's Martin King.
It's a day like any other for 19-year-old Alicia, just loving her horses. But that afternoon, her young life would take a terrible turn.
What's your name, sorry? Lisa. Alicia. Okay.
The day of my accident, I was driving to do volunteer work. I don't remember anything about the accident. I was told I hit a tree. When I woke up in the hospital, I thought I must have fallen off one of my horses.
Her vehicle had slammed into a tree. Alicia, seriously injured, cut from her car and airlifted to hospital. This is a tree Alicia hit.
Yes.
What was happening when you turned up?
I just saw emergency services everywhere, and then I saw Alicia's car and I could hear her crying, so I knew she was still in the car.
The 000 call reporting Alicia's accident is harrowing. Officially, it's a single vehicle car crash in the bush at Launching Place east of Melbourne. But Alicia's mother Nancy doesn't believe a word of it.
This was a mother's intuition, and it's never wrong.
If you read the police report, this was an open and shut case. Nothing to see here. From the report, lost control around bend on wet road, collided with tree. Pretty much sums it up, say the police. The police force closed the case, but then straight away, another force opened it right back up again. And that force was Nancy. And let me tell you, Nancy is a force to be reckoned with.
I came back here the next day, and it was that moment I decided that I was going to investigate it and not let it drop until I got answers.
So, Alicia, you've come around this corner, coming this way.
As far as I know, yes.
Yeah, but you have no memory of the accident, do you?
No, I have no memory.
Except for one thing. What was that one thing?
I had a gut feeling that there was a red car involved, but the first thing I remember for that day is getting staples in my head.
In the hospital?
Yes.
With just one clue, a red car, Nancy, suburban mother turned sleuth, begins her investigation. It will take hundreds of hours over 3 years.
I went back to the scene of the car accident so many times to try and work out what happened. There were skid marks in the grass, so I took photos of the skid marks. And I asked my mechanic, who was also a firefighter, if he could work anything out from the skid marks.
How did you begin your investigation?
I put it on Facebook to try and discover information, but also to try and flush out any witnesses that there could be.
Nancy probed and prodded and pushed, from skid marks to social media posts, company searches, slogging along street after street chasing leads, dead ends. She explored it all.
It was this massive puzzle that I had to try and put together.
Then pay dirt. A family member of the man in the red car commented on Nancy's post. She spoke with the driver on the phone.
He said he was driving along and he saw Alicia come around the bend, and that she reacted to him swerving and that she overreacted, and then he swerved around her, went off the road onto the dirt to get around her. And he said that as she came round the bend, he will never get the shocked look on her face out of his mind.
Nancy had found her driver. She rang the police officer who attended the scene.
He said he went to try and take a statement and he refused, and then he told me he has the right to remain silent.
Nancy absolutely did the police's job for them. She went out there and tracked down the witnesses. She got the evidence.
Jeremy King, a principal with Robertson Gill Lawyers, represents Alicia.
It's unbelievable, I have to say. I've never had a client with a mother quite like her, and I've never seen anyone go to the lengths that she has for her daughter.
There was an awful lot at stake here. If Alicia was proved to be solely responsible for the accident, she wouldn't be eligible for a lump sum payout. So it was imperative that her mother Nancy prove there was more to the story. At the start, she had nothing to go on, but in the end, she proved to everybody that persistence and patience and perspiration are a very powerful combination.
My daughter's whole future depended on me, and I was going to get justice.
Nancy pressed on, then a tip about this place, Fast Freddy's, a tyre centre in Healesville. Someone here remembers a man talking about being at Alicia's accident. Nancy had found her second witness. His name is Jürgen, and that day he spoke to the driver of the red car at the scene.
Well, he said I was coming round the bend. I was looking at my phone. I'd swerved onto the other side of the road, and yes, it's just happened so fast.
How important was it that Nancy found Jürgen?
It was absolutely critical. Without Jürgen, we would have had nothing.
He definitely said that he was looking at his phone?
Yeah.
You've got no doubt about that?
No doubt about that at
Because
all.
that's in your statement, he was looking at his phone.
Definitely.
Move over, Sherlock. Nancy had cracked the case.
It was the final piece to the puzzle that I have been searching years for.
The Victorian Transport Accident Commission awarded Alicia a substantial six-figure compensation. And she'll need every cent of it because going forward, she may never work again.
I had to find the answers for Alicia's sake, because she kept blaming herself, and I wasn't going to have her live the rest of her life thinking that it was her fault.
I admire her, how strong she is, and because I've given up, really. If you look at both of us, she's the fighter, and I wanted to die in that car. I wish I died in that car accident, because life just isn't worth it now.
Can I come in?
No, can't. I'll bring the police up.
We've spoken to the driver of the red car. He denies looking at his phone. We're not saying he was on his phone, just that a witness, Jürgen, claims he told him at the scene that he was. We've chosen not to identify the driver. Tell me how you're feeling now.
I'm feeling okay. I suffered a traumatic brain injury, which is invisible, so it's hard for people to understand what I'm going through. And the mood swings are really bad, so 1 minute I'm okay and then the next I'm really angry.
The investigation may be over and the payout finalised, but that's the easy part.
It's had an enormous impact on Nancy. She's probably one of the most dedicated mothers I've ever seen, and it's just crushed her to see her daughter so injured.
I've had to reduce my hours of work dramatically because she needs to be with me most of the time. I have nightmares at night.
What are those dreams?
That I'm arriving at the hospital and I didn't make it in time and that she's passed away.
She's my world. I love her to bits, and she's the only person that's there for me, and yeah. She's like my best friend. We do everything together. She does the horses. We're joint at the hip now. So, yeah. I love you. Love you too.
Alicia is planning to spend her payout on further rehabilitation as well as starting an organisation to help injured wildlife with her mum.